Hey, welcome to the Reinvent Roundtable, and this week's Roundtable on reinventing the civil rights movement. It's 50 years, almost to the day of the March on Washington, and that generation of civil rights leaders, epitomized by Martin Luther King, did some fantastic things there and really created the context for an America of today that's now twice elected an African-American president, among other things. That said, many people feel the civil rights movement is, there's plenty more to do.
We're experiencing really a comprehensive assault on civil rights. George Zimmerman was found not guilty of killing Trayvon Martin. The Supreme Court has unraveled key pieces of the Voting Rights Act and affirmative action. State governments are radically and enthusiastically taking away the rights of women. Marriage equality remains unrecognized in many parts of the country. And immigrants are being profiled in the streets and attacked in the media almost every single day. Even President Obama got nagged last week when he, made some very candid remarks on his reaction to the Zimmerman verdict and, what he wanted to see as far as having honest conversations. So today or tonight, we're actually going to take a step back and not only answer the president's call for honest and meaningful conversations about rights, about race, and about justice, but also to hear from several people who are doing work daily to grow this generation's civil rights movement. We're learning from our past struggles.
I am here in the Capitol right now, so I apologize if it's really loud or if I yawn a lot. I only had 2 hours of sleep last night. The most recent movement, which has occurred after the George Zimmerman verdict, I think it's been something that we've all been waiting for, the tipping point, if you will, to get other people who wouldn't necessarily be involved in the struggle.
In the next year, we want to see 1 million conversations on race happen in this country. And we want white people to start them. And we want them to start them when they see something messed up, when they think something is messed up, and we don't want them to be scared about alienating themselves from other white people or insulting people. Like, step up and start having that conversation today. The train's going towards justice, and I'd rather be on that train than the other one.
I think what's actually emerging is bigger than a civil rights movement. It is a racial justice movement that is closely connected to other justice movements. I think the new racial justice movement is really working to help people understand and act on the ways in which racism actually works, particularly in our country today, where people have learned not to engage in the most obvious kinds, because those are the kinds that are outlawed. Racism has morphed, and our movement needs to keep up.
There is systemic racism and there is a cognitive disconnect when you look at Silicon Valley. There was a recent study on internet seed and Series A founders of new startups, and about 80% of those were white and about 20% of those were Asian or Pacific Island folks who received funding from investors. And there's a couple of categories missing there, right, of other people. And so, I think that we have a long way to go.
If you look at just this panel, if we were talking 60 years ago, 70 years ago, we would not see so many women stepping up and being in visible leadership in the civil rights movement. We're looking at justice. We're not just looking at racial justice. We're looking at economic justice, and we're looking at gender justice as well.
I think it was H. Rap Brown who said the revolution will not be televised. Apparently it's on Google Hangout, however. So to me, that's really exciting.
One of the things that I really love about technology is the ability to connect more people, and that connection builds or can build empathy, and that empathy grows into solidarity. And I think that's where I think our movement has some really, really great potential and power.
It's not just the tools. The tools are great. You can create a WordPress site in a few minutes. You can, fire up a Twitter account, or an Instagram account in a few seconds. But it's, those are just the vehicles ultimately for the human spirit.
We've got to take the outrage and move it to action and make sure that we're having, taking these tools that are very important and really marrying them to the traditional tenets of the civil rights movement of boots on the ground, of the organizing, exactly what we're seeing happening in Florida right now.
There's big social change ahead of us. Things are going to get realigned. Structures on which we have relied will fall away, and we will create new structures, and those structures and those new ways of doing things will emerge very quickly. That's exciting. It's probably a little scary to some folks, but I'm looking forward to it, and I want to be a part of it.